Have you ever caught yourself explaining away pain as just how it is? Have you ever whispered, "It's not that bad," even when your heart screamed otherwise? Too many of us carry wounds, not because of what happened once, but because we allowed it to happen again and again. Endurance we mistake for love. What we call suffering we describe as being strong. But true strength starts with acknowledgement. This isn't a video to blame others. It's reclaiming yourself, because healing doesn't begin with what happened to you. It begins with what you decide you will never take again. Let's explore 10 behaviors no human soul should be conditioned to endure. If any of these feel familiar, don't judge yourself. See this as a mirror and maybe a doorway. 1. Guilt disguised as care. Have you ever been made to feel bad for having needs? Sometimes, love doesn't come in the form of warmth. It comes cloaked in guilt. "I do so much for you," they say. And suddenly, your boundaries feel like betrayal. But guilt is not affection. Love does not require you to shrink, twist, or apologize for your humanity. When someone weaponizes your empathy, what they offer isn't care, it's control. 2. Sarcasm as subtle cruelty. Jokes are all fun and games until it's not funny anymore. You chuckle along because if you said something, you'd be overreacting. But something is not quite right deep down. Sarcasm becomes a mask, a backdoor for resentment, a method of denigrating without being responsible for it. Real humor lifts. It doesn't sting. If you walk away from a conversation feeling worse about yourself, that was not a joke. It was a red flag. 3. Constant correction dressed as guidance. Advice can be a gift, but when it becomes constant critique, it morphs into a tool of domination. You're told how to talk, how to dress, how to feel, until your essence is edited out of your own life. That's not partnership, that's performance. Real connection doesn't ask you to become someone else to earn love. It invites you to be more of who you truly are. 4th, emotional withdrawal as discipline. When people punish you with silence, lack of affection, and disappearing act with no explanation, that's not maturity. That's emotional blackmail. And now here you are, freaking out and overthinking everything. After every line you spit or detail you drop, you text and get no response. You wonder what you did to deserve this. But the problem isn't with you. It's that you are being used as a pawn in the game of absence, as control. Love doesn't disappear when it becomes inconvenient. It leans in. 5. Overriding your intuition. You say something feels wrong. They say you're being paranoid. Over time, your inner compass rusts. You second-guess yourself. You outsource your sense of reality to someone who benefits from your confusion. Gaslighting doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it arrives in soft tones, cloaked in concern. "I think you're just tired," they say. But what they're really doing is erasing your truth, one sentence at a time. 6. Apologies without transformation. They say sorry again and again, but nothing changes. Words can be soothing. But healing doesn't come from repetition. It comes from responsibility. When someone uses apologies as a reset button instead of a stepping stone to growth, you're not being loved, you're being pacified. And you deserve more than recycled remorse. 7. Chronic lack of empathy. You cry and they roll their eyes. You speak your truth and they change the topic. Your pain is met with impatience. This isn't a personality mismatch, it's a lack of humanity. Empathy is the bridge between hearts. Without it, conversations become transactions, relationships become performances. And slowly, you start hiding your pain just to keep the peace. But love isn't peace at the cost of your truth. It's the willingness to hold space for each other's whole, messy, beautiful reality. 8. Normalizing chaos. High highs, deep lows, endless cycles. Apologies, tears, reconnection, and then repeat. This roller coaster becomes addictive. You mistake intensity for intimacy. But love shouldn't feel like survival. Stability isn't boring, it's sacred. If you're addicted to dysfunction, it's not because you're broken, it's because someone taught you that chaos was normal. But normal isn't always healthy, and familiar isn't always safe. Here's the truth. Every time you tolerate what hurts, your nervous system adapts. You tell yourself, it's okay. You get used to discomfort. You become fluent in pain. But healing begins the moment you say, no more. No more dimming yourself. No more guilt-tripped love. No more shrinking to fit into places that were never built for your soul. Your inner world deserves respect. Your emotions are not inconveniences. Your boundaries are not burdens. You're not hard to love. You've just been loving in the wrong direction. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." So ask yourself, what have I been tolerating that I now choose to release? If this message speaks to your soul, take a moment, share your truth in the comments, or simply write, "I choose to stop tolerating what breaks me," because when one person chooses healing, it sends a silent permission to others. And that's how we change, not with force, but with truth. If you haven't already, consider subscribing to our channel. This space is for your healing, your voice, your evolution. Let's walk this journey together.